Harmony, the Irie, Mary, and Friends show. This season promises more interesting, informative, educational, and eye-opening topics from politics and current affairs to cultural happenings and education. Local and international followers won't want to miss Irie Mary's honest coverage of Jamaican realities for the diaspora and the world. Reignite your passion for change. Echo the calls for solid social, economic, and political improvements, and hold elected and accountable officials to account with Irie Mary and Friends at the Irie Mary and Friends show. Harmony, the Irie Mary and Friends show.
This week, former JLP representative, now PNP candidate for Northern Trelawney, Dennis Meadows. Former JLP activist, now PNP candidate for Northeast City Canada, Dr. Ryan Simpson. And the PNP candidate in Eastern City, Thomas Miss Rosemary Adolph.
Mr. Meadows, you here? Dennis?
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Hey Ryan, how are you, man?
Hey, my friend Dennis. Great to hear your voice, man.
I'm here, my friend.
Okay, I'm gonna start now, okay?
Do I need my camera on or it can be off?
No, man, I
It's
want
up
the camera
now.
on.
Should it be on or off?
Yeah, we put it on.
Okay. Well, I'm on. I just
Okay. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Irie Mary and Friends show. Our show is being streamed on Facebook Live on the following page, Colin Mary, and Change in Action, as well as YouTube and Twitter. Tonight's show is a no-holds bar show from Belmont Road to Old Hope Road, simply meaning from the JLP to the PNP. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome former Senator Dennis Meadows and Dr. Ryan Simpson. These two individuals are well-known personalities who have committed their life to serve their country. These are Jamaicans who are in it for the outcome to improve Jamaican lives, that is to servant of the people and not for the income. I wish to apologize for the absence of former Mayor of Morant Bay, Rosemary Shaw, who will not be on the show this evening due to the fact that she is stuck in traffic. As you all know, it is very perilous and challenging in commuting on the St. Thomas Road. Be assured though that Ms. Shaw will be sharing our roundtable discussion on another show soon. I also want to apologize for the absence of my co-host, Ms. Andrea Savizan, who is in a similar situation. And as you all know, they are ladies and want to be as comfortable as possible. I'm going to introduce Dennis Meadows, a short little introduction. Dennis Meadows is essentially a husband, father of four, businessman, and an information technology consultant. He has been actively involved in politics for over 20 years. Matriculation to the officer corp of one of the Jamaica major political party. Appointed government senator in 2007 and chaired numerous public sector boards. Mr. Meadows' sojourn in civil society activism saw him lead the then dynamic group CAPI, Citizens Action for Principles and Integrity. CAPI is a civil society group championed many social justice issues, including the beating death of Maria Dean in a jail cell for smoking ganja. Mr. Meadows possessed an undeviating desire and passion to serve people and is always prepared up for what he believes. Mr. Meadows was recently elected by the delegates of the People's National Party for the constituency of North Trelawney and will be this party's standard bearer in the next general elections, of which he is confident that he will easily defeat the JLP candidate. Dr. Ryan Simpson is married to Dr. Joanne Cousin Simpson. She is a primary care dementia certified and functional medicine physician. They have 3 children, 1 son, Sebastian, and 2 daughters. His life has been driven by an unrelenting desire to look beyond his own immediate and personal aspirations and give himself to something larger and grander. It is this desire that has inspired him to devote over 20 years of his life to the occupation of a minister of religion. And it is this same desire that propels him to avail himself the cause of national building in the service of my fellow citizens through representational politics. It is his aim to be a conduit of hope and justice, an agent of change, and to embrace and fulfill his destiny to God and his generation. His political ideology is democratic socialism. Greetings, gentlemen.
Greetings, Mary.
Now, this question is for both of you. You know, anyone can take it first. You know, I want to know who is Dennis Meadows and who is Dr. Ryan Simpson.
Yeah, you just said it. Anybody knows me knows that I hate talking about myself. Yeah, and I think your introduction, in essence, captures the essence of who I am. At my core, I'm a people's person. I am nauseated and moved by social injustices. I hate seeing the powerful oppress the powerless and the vociferous and loudmouth oppress the voiceless. In other words, I frown on any attempt by those who hold power to frustrate rather than to facilitate. I believe that power, when vested in you, particularly as public servants, you must use that power to facilitate rather than frustrate. And what I've been seeing over at least since 2020, 2016, is a government that seems to think that power, vested power in them, believe that you must frustrate those who you don't like, pursuant to their own selfish interests. We want a government that puts national interests over personal and sectoral and special interests. That's it for me.
Dr. Ryan?
Well, you actually did say who Ryan Simpson was. I don't know that there's too much more to it. You know, I agree with Comrade. I agree with Comrade Dennis Meadows. But yeah, so Ryan Simpson is a patriot. I wonder, you know, I often say to people I don't like to be considered or to be termed a politician, and I've been advised in recent time that I should not say that. People as much as people hate politics and politicians, they don't want to know the person involved in politics is a politician. And not that I don't understand politics. I do understand politics and I do understand the political process. I mean, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot more to learn, a long way to go. But I do understand the concept of politics and what constitutes a politician. And the fact that I'm involved in politics, I am a politician. But I prefer to be considered a patriot. If I were to choose between being called a politician and a patriot, I would choose to be called a patriot. Because for me, it's not politics for me in the sense that I'm not in it for what I can get from it. I'm not in it to play games. I'm not in it to make promises and fool people, and then do my own thing. And I truly have a desire and a passion, a burden for my country, Jamaica. And as you know, I support very much the sentiments of Comrade Meadows that the truth is that my country is right now is free falling down the abyss of decline and decay and decadence and degradation, and you could go on and on. We see a people that is being represented by a government that is not for the people, a government that is not acting in the best interest of the people, and that burdens me a lot. I go to bed every night thinking about it. It's the first thing on my mind when I wake up every morning. So Ryan is a patriot. I'm a Jamaican. I'm a proud Jamaican. I've lived in many countries in the world. Jamaica is my the homing device takes me back to Jamaica. There's no other place in the world I'd rather be or want to be. It's a place that is this one place in the world that you can't kick me out of. Even if my passport expires and I board a flight and land in Jamaica, they have to admit me. You understand? They can't extradite. Well, they can extradite me, but they can't. What's the word? They can't deport me. That's my home, and I want to make it livable for me and my children and for my people. So that's me. That's Ryan. That's Ryan Simpson.
And you talk about wait, you're a patriot, but I see whereby I see where you're democratic socialism. Could you just explain that a little bit?
Right. So democratic socialism is the ideologies of the People's National Party. It contrasts capitalism, that is the ideology of the Jamaica Labour Party. Democratic socialism believes, contrary to capitalism, that is inspired and by greed and concentrates wealth in the hand of a few, while the majority, the mass, or should I say at the expense of the mass, the expense of the majority. Democratic socialism is a principle of equity, a principle of everyone benefit from wealth. The resources are shared so that the concentration of wealth is not is not concentrated. It's not a few at the expense of the many, but the many benefiting from the wealth. That's in a nutshell. There's democratic socialism is broader and bigger than that, but so the principles and ideologies of the People's National Party, what makes the People's National Party different from, say, the Jamaica Labour Party, is the principle of equity and transparency and fairness. A principle that uplifts the people, that looks out for the best interests of the people, not special interest groups. A principle that aims, that allows a country, the people of the country, to live in dignity. To be proud to be Jamaicans, and to know that their labor, is not being what's the word? Their labor is, they benefit from the fruit of their labor and not not just a small minority of people benefiting from on the backs of the people.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Meadows,
Yes.
you are someone that I have been following around from 2006. I may not know that, but the first time I see you was out by Clock, some tip top barbershop there. That's where I first see you. And from there, I have watched all your victimization coming up. I think the last one was about 2014, somewhere there, when you went up for chairman of your former party, you know.
That was a good time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So I've been watching a lot of victimization and stuff like that. But tell us a little bit about your journey coming here, you know. Other things that
when people ask me why politics, I think politics chose me. I believe that I have an innate intolerance, as I said earlier, for injustice. I hate seeing the minority being oppressed by the majority. And the few citizens, if I'm driving along the road, if I see a police disrespecting a citizen, I stop and intervene at the risk of being arrested. I've been arrested many times, just defending the common man. And even during my formative years coming up, I was always seen as the voice of the voiceless. One of the things that God blessed me, first of all, He blessed me with a heart. He blessed me with emotional intelligence. And I think most of all, He blessed me with fearlessness. I fear nobody, which sometimes my wife will tell you she dread, because I sometimes do things fearlessly, and that have its own consequences. But I fear nobody. The only person I fear is the man upstairs. I believe that we all, even when I was in government and around, I don't carry bodyguards. I don't need them, because I believe that I don't fear the common man. In fact, I'm at my most comfortable when I am among the simple man, the man in the ghetto, the man on the corner. I am at my most comfortable when I'm there. Because one thing I tell you about the common man, or ghetto people, or those that are in a city, I find them to be more sincere than those who upstairs, what you call the intelligentsia. I find that the common man is more sincere, and therefore I seem to be around them mostly. I've sat with kings and I've sat with paupers, and I believe that I find the common Jamaican man and woman, the John public, is the best to cohort and to socialize with. And I hate seeing them being oppressed. And that drives me. So as I said to everybody, politics was just a natural progression to me. I wish that God continue to bless me, that I continue to give up my time for the rest of my life, just serving my fellow Jamaicans, particularly those without the voice and those without the power. I pray God that He continues to bless me, to give me that strength, that sense of fearlessness, to stand up in defense of them and in what I believe in, what I believe to be right and just. And that's my passion.
Dr. Simpson.
Yes.
You have been on the political battlefield, and in a recent speech, you said that your mother told you to stay away from the JLP. Why is that? Will your mother be on the campaign?
You're trying to get me into trouble, you know.
Will your mother be on the campaign with you?
Pardon? Say that again?
Well, just messing around, asking if your mother is going to be on the campaign with you.
No, I doubt she will be. My mother, I think her days of political campaigning is over. I know for sure, though, she supports me very much in my political pursuits. I think she's at a place now where she's very proud of me and proud that I am actually now representing the party of her foundation. The People's National Party has been, her roots for many generations. And so she's excited that I have I've come to my senses as a preacher. I came to my senses. The prodigal son said when he found himself in the pig's pen, interacting with pigs and trying, I don't know what he was trying to do, working with pigs, but he found himself at a point where he was eating pig's food and forgetting that he's from a royal lineage of a lineage of kings, and he remembered how wealthy his father was. He said he came to his senses, and he went back home. And so my mother is happy that I have abandoned. I'm not gonna say, I don't want to say the pig's pen, but I've returned. I've returned to the party of my childhood upbringing, and that's significant because a lot of people are of the notion, that I'm a laborite, and you'll see on social media if people think that I'm a laborite who wash up, and I mean, and whether or not there's this something that I fight against very much, because here's my brother and very good friend, someone I respect very much, Dennis Meadows, who would have spent a significant portion of his time in the Jamaica Labour Party. And people would now want to think that he's insincere or disingenuous for choosing to now associate with the People's National Party. People need to understand that in any organization, any situation, people don't stay in an organization situation, no matter if they grew up in it, no matter if that's where they were nurtured and trained. They're not going to stay in something that has moved away from what they believe in, from principle, in something that they believe is compromising. And human beings have the right to always choose their conscience. Comrade Meadows, myself, we worked with the Jamaican Labour Party. He for a much longer time than I have. And when we were with the Jamaican Labour Party, it's not so much that we were being, it was a matter of party as much as it was a matter of serving our country. And we chose that platform on which to serve our country. For whatever reason, we chose that platform, and we were very sincere when we were there. People think you have to be insincere. That's why you've switched sides. It's I started high school, and it never worked out for me, that school, and I chose another school. I wasn't insincere about that high school. It just never worked out for me. We never mesh. Or what I wanted to achieve, I wouldn't have been able to achieve it at that high school. I mean, I'm a preacher. I grew up in a Baptist church. That's how I started out, in a Baptist church. I ended up being a preacher for a Seventh Adventist church. People change denominations quite frequently, and even some of the people who cuss you out and say you're a turncoat or you're flip-flop, they themselves would have started out in one religious institution and now find themselves in another. Do you call them a turncoat or flip-flop? Do they consider themselves a turncoat or flip for finding what they call the truth? Perhaps they thought
It's not the turncoat.
Brian,
yes,
Brian,
Dennis. Yes.
There's a knowledge I always use to dismiss that notion of die hard.
Yes.
Even your personal relationships.
Come on.
You
Yes.
divorce your wife or your husband if things doesn't work out.
That is right.
You tell me, if you're prepared to leave your husband or your wife if the relationship doesn't work out.
Right.
Who the hell is JLP or PNP for you to leave?
Correct. That you should stay with them for life.
Exactly. Life is a dynamic. It's very dynamic.
Correct.
As we hear discussion and 1,000,001 thoughts went through our minds and continue to go through our minds. The short time we're here. So being die hard, I tell people all the while, being die hard or dogmatic in anything, it's unnatural.
Correct.
Because life in its essence is dynamic. It's about change, it's about growth and moving forward.
Right.
I am not going to say to you that my sojourn and my relationship with the JLP was all bad.
Correct.
In fact, I've learned a lot governmentally. I've
Yes.
learned a lot politically
Right.
due to my sojourn with the JLP.
Correct.
Right? So I'm not going to bash my
And
time with them.
by
Right?
extension, Dennis, by extension
Yes.
too, I think you would also agree that you have some of your strongest and most loyal friends are still in the Jamaica Labour Party.
Still JLP.
Great
Still
people,
JLP.
good people. I mean, and we do have friends on both sides. I mean, I think Mark Golian has a lot of friends, Comrade Leader Mark Golian, a lot of friends in the JLP that I think he's sincerely friends with. But when your ideologies no longer coincide or compatible, you got to move on. For me, and I can go on and on and talk about how I ended up with the Jamaica Labour Party, but I grew up in the People's National Party. Actually, let me say it the other way. I was born in a PNP household. Grandmother, great grandmother, grandfather, mother, you understand, stepfather. What grew up with them running up and down for the People's National Party under Jigs Ennis, in West Portland, and what's his name out in East Portland, Sam Lawrence, But then I went to Southeast St. Anne, grew up with my father, spent some time with my father's parents in their household, labor rights, So I also had the experience of the best of both worlds. The fact is that you also know I have to make an assessment and ask yourself the question at a certain point in time, which of the party in Jamaica right now really represent the future of Jamaica, a future that you would like to see, the future that you would like Jamaica to aspire to. Which of the parties, which of the leadership of the party do you see are working in the best interest of the Jamaican people? Which of the parties are a party of equity, a party of fairness, a party of patriotism? And the answer is very clear. I mean, if Andrew Holness called the election, no, the people are going to choose the party that is representing them, that stands up for them, and it's not going to be the Jamaica Labour Party. And I'm not going to associate with anything that is anti-Jamaican or anti-Jamaica. And right now, the Andrew Holness and the Andrew Holness led government are clearly anti-Jamaica. They are working in the best interest of somebody, but it's not the Jamaican people. And I am not going to associate with you. You want to call me a turncoat? That's fine. But I really believe sincerely that the People's National Party is the party that represents the Jamaica I want to see.
And turncoat Ryan, you're a man, you're essentially a man of the cloth.
Yes, indeed.
Saul that became Paul.
Yeah.
On the road to Damascus.
Mm-hmm.
You would call him a turncoat.
Oh, definitely.
He was a persecutor of the Christians.
Yes.
And eventually become a Christian.
Come on now.
So turncoat is not an...
You're preaching, Dennis. You're preaching.
So this notion of turncoat, while some people think it has a pejorative connotation,
right?
Also has a biblical
it's a compliment. Let's say it that way. It's a compliment. Because we're in good company. People like Saul and other people would have turned from their ways or from their wicked ways. So it's a compliment.
Yes.
But it's also used as a distraction, Myri. And you're right. It's a labor right.
Labor rights them use that word, I was in a group particular, and I was in a WhatsApp group. And that person, people were suspecting that young man, that gentleman, to be a labor right, And I'm like, no, he's cool. But the moment that he put the word, you turncoat,
Oh, okay.
I said, you're out. I didn't even wait another minute. I delete him from the group.
Right. And I think they use it as a distraction, because I know Dennis Meadows is sincere about the people of Northern Trelawney. In fact, it's Dennis Meadows who would have brought Northern Trelawney to the point where the Jamaica Labour Party could now seize it.
Taking it from like 6,000 votes to almost 10,000, 9,000, what, 660?
Exactly.
There are those who tend to use this notion that, and they use this term, oh, you're a loser. but nobody says that term or contextualize it in terms of in what context you call me a loser.
Exactly.
This is a hardcore bastion of PNP support.
Right.
It
Right.
still is.
Right.
And to make the point is, the current member of parliament, in the heights of the JLP swing,
Yes.
that blew 49,
Yes.
including some neophyte unknown political names in parliament today, right? The current member of parliament was only won by 2,000 votes less than what I lost by in 2016 that I campaigned on my own, with my own money, with my own resources, backed by my friends, right?
Yeah.
I was able to amass way more votes than the incumbent.
And you lost by,
Yes, it is.
you lost by less.
In other words, the incumbent in North Carolina won by, in the heights of the JLP swing. JLP will never see another swing like this.
Yes, 2,000 less.
Yes, 2,000 votes less than I lost by.
My goodness.
So that tells you. So when they so victory, is relative.
Yeah.
Because that for me, I was able to convert a seat that has been a safe seat for the PNP for the period over 30 years. I was able to convert that seat to a marginal seat in political terms. In 2016, on my own, I didn't even get a visit from a high profile, a minister, or not at all in 2016. Why?
And that is
because I didn't support Andrew Wallace.
And that's very significant.
That's where I was going to ask you, what's the relationship with you and the JLP hierarchy?
No, man, I still have good friends among the JLP hierarchy. Darrell Vaz is a very good friend of mine, others. I don't consider nobody enemies. I don't hate people. Nobody knows me. I have the incapacity to hate. Don't get me wrong. There are some people I love to hate, but I can't.
Wow.
Because that's within me. And I will avoid you if you're not in my best interest. But I don't hate people. Okay. I still consider to this day Andrew Wallace a friend.
Yeah.
Right? I don't hate for politics. We might have a difference or so. But where does it get you? I respect the right of anyone to support a political party or any philosophy, any ideology they so chose.
Right.
Why we think that the fact that you support one thing against another makes you the enemy of another?
Yeah.
Why we think that? Just imagine if you all supported. Just imagine if you have a stadium full of people, two teams playing, but everybody in the stadium supporting one team. What kind of game with that? Where's the competition?
There's no competition in that. Dennis, I don't want to say one thing, Dennis, about you again with the point I was making in Northern Trelawney. Because people has a way, the voters will cuss you out when you run in a constituency and lose and leave. Yes, and now Dennis Meadows ran and lost and stayed, and the people will still cuss him out to say he's a loser. And I don't get that, because that's what the Jamaican
that's bad myself.
Yes, that's what the Jamaican people are asking for.
Let me borrow a phrase from my good friend Andrew Wallace. That's bad mind talk.
Oh my goodness. I'm saying, that's what the people always say. If you run and lose, stay. The man run and lose and stayed. And they call him a loser. But I'm saying that to say that, at the end of the day, I came down to Northern Trelawney last Sunday to support the delegates vote. And
which I thank you.
The energy, Myri, the energy, the support that I saw is very indicative that he's going to win in the next general election. And why is he going to win?
He's going to get the most votes for the PNP in that era.
Well, I don't know. Please keep your eyes on,
I believe that way.
Keep your eyes on Northeast St. Anne. But I'm
well, possibly, but that's for a different constituency.
Ryan, you're not going to yield that trophy at all. You're not going to yield that trophy at all to me.
But I'm just saying,
I'm like it's natural, but yeah.
Here's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is simply this: that Dennis Meadows ran on the JLP ticket, and had he run, had he, if he were the candidate, he would have won hands down way more votes than the incumbent won. And now he's going to run on the People's National Party ticket, and he's going to win. What does that say? There can't be an insincere man. It can't be a man who has seek power hungry person. This has to be a man who has built a lot of political capital and a lot of equity in a constituency. Yes, and so that the people, I mean, the amount of the support that the man is getting down there shows that people need to stand up for party politics is important. I prefer the ideals of the People's National Party over the Jamaican Labour Party. But beyond that, there's also a candidate, the individual, the person. Yes, and so when you know going to continue to brand the man a Labourite, yes, and when the man is in the community under the banner of the People's National Party, doing what he was doing under the banner of the JLP, which is to be a Jamaican, for Jamaican, love Jamaican, and wants Jamaica better. Yes, and that is, so when they call you a turncoat and a flip-flop, that distracts, that serves as that what they're trying to do is distract you from what is primary and substantially what your mission. Your mission. And the mission is like to make the life of the people better. Yeah?
They don't cause some of that Bruce going in a flip-flop.
Okay, exactly.
So man, he's of the right skin, you, lighter you. They can do everything and get away with it. When people like you and I of our you, our skin color, we are turncoats.
Okay.
But ultimately, so if you notice on my Facebook page, I don't respond to those comments because again, it's usually I'm not, it's whether they're Labour or comrades, unfortunately, it's usually people who are uninformed and not very well educated or intelligent enough to understand that, listen, and everybody hungry for power. People love their country and people want to do something for their country. They want their country better. And so for that reason, I don't allow myself to be distracted. I have my mission, and my mission is clear. And I know Dennis' mission is clear. We're going to win these constituencies, put the People's National Party back into government so Jamaica can progress.
Okay.
And prosper.
Mr. Meadows.
What for me?
Dr. Simpson talk about your election in 2016, But if I'm not lying,
sorry about that. Wife intervened. Sorry. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
The wife intervened a while. The boss intervened a while. Are you hearing me?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. So I was saying that in 2016, Dr. Ryan was talking about it, but I do remember that at one time, I think your name was calling over in West Central, again, the seat. How long before that did you go over back into Nachulani that you could come up with?
Let me tell you how I.
4 months before you went in, or what?
Let me tell you how I actually ended up in North Carolina. Let me give you the backstory.
Yeah.
In 2007, when the JLP won, a matter of fact, preceding the JLP, that election, 2007 election, Marissa Dalrymple, now Speaker of the House, was moved from, she was a caretaker for North Carolina,
Yeah.
That's where she started. And for some reason, the candidate up there, Devon McDaniel.
Yeah.
If I got the name right.
Yeah, Devon McDaniel.
I was to leave, and therefore the party moved her from north to south. At that time, I was just elected Deputy General Secretary of the JLP, and Bruce Golding at the time asked me to fill in, take the seat, a kind of placeholder, going to the elections. You see, Trelawney, let me just tell you how Trelawney people are. Trelawney people, particularly North Trelawney people, are very suspicious of outsiders. When you come from outside and they don't know you, they tend to be suspicious of your motives. What is your real motive? Are you here to stay, right? Or here to play? So in 2006, when I got here, I realized the sentiments on the ground, and I committed to them that win, lose, or draw, I would remain. And those who know me, I like to be a man of my word as much as is humanly possible. And I ran, I lost, and I got somewhere in excess of 6,000 votes at the time, which I consider impressive because when I came here, I couldn't spell Falmouth. I could barely spell Trelawney.
Mhm.
I had no connections, no history in Northern Trelawney, or Trelawney for that matter. The only time I come to Trelawney is driving through from Montego Bay elsewhere. But over time, given my commitment to the seat, I have won the love and the respect of the people of Northern Trelawney. As somebody said, I remained the de facto member of parliament since 2006. Because even while
You're muted.
Dennis, your mic is muted. I think you mistakenly muted your mic, Dennis.
Dennis, you're muted.
ask those who are moved to call, just simply hold that until the show is over. Thank you. So over years, I am sincere. I'm a sincere being. And never we underestimate, sometimes we as politicians underestimate the emotion intelligence of the little man. Those people on the ground. We think they can't read you. They know when you're game or you are sincere. They have that natural thing. I don't know, maybe it's a survival instinct and a survival sense. They read your sincerity just like that. And I was able to win them over. Secondly, my politics has always been inclusive and non-tribal. The fact that I was JLP then and I am PMP now, when you come to me for help, don't tell me you used to vote for me, because it doesn't matter. Because if you need help, I don't care who you voted for. I deal with the needy, not the greedy.
Hmm.
And I think that if politicians is like a pastor preaching all the while to the same congregants, the same membership, without seeking to preach to winning new souls. Eventually, his church will empty. So you can't be a politician on top, but you deal with one side against the other. You might run on a JLP or a PMP ticket, but the moment you become member of parliament, you ought to be the people's member of parliament.
That's correct.
Regardless of that individual voted for you or not. Because guess what? The moment you become member of parliament, you are spending taxpayers' money.
Yes.
And when you go to the tax office, when the little man goes to the tax office or the supermarket to buy his grocery and he pays GCT, or he goes to the tax office to pay his car license or property tax, nobody asks them who you voted for,
Right.
or which party you belong to. They take your taxes regardless of your politics.
Yes.
Therefore, when you're spending taxpayers' money, it must not be done on a political and partisan basis.
Right.
If you operate like that as a politician, you cannot be successful over time. Unless it's one term you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. What was your role? Both of you, I'm asking away. What was your reason for leaving the JLP, and what role did you play in selling brand JLP to the Jamaican people? Dennis?
There's a philosophy I go by. When it comes to relationships, whether organizational or personal, when I move on, I just move on. I tend not to dwell on the past. But since you asked, you bear in mind that I have a history politically. I served in the National Democratic Movement with Bruce Golding. When
Yes.
Bruce left the JLP, left the NDM, I followed him to the JLP. At my core, I'm a Goldingite more than a Labourite. My friend can tell you that from day one.
And
Something with me, something, you know, something with me and the Goldings.
Yeah.
Something with me and the Goldings. But with the departure of Bruce Golding, I felt uncomfortable in the JLP. One, because I know where Bruce Golding's heart was within the body politics. I know what he meant for Jamaica. He was sincere. And I am a leader-centric person. I don't make no apologies about that. While I subscribe to the principles and the core ideology of any organization or political party I serve, those philosophies, those ideologies, those policies must be sold by a credible leader. One with integrity, right? One with vision.
Mhm.
And therefore, I believe that I am leader-centric. And Mark Golding, for me, in fact, I started campaigning for Mark Golding before I left the JLP. If you check my Twitter history, when he was running against Comrade Lisa Anna, I started campaigning for him even before I departed the JLP, much to the annoyance of my then Labourites. Because I see in Mark Golding somebody who is sincere. Look at his track record. He's successful in business. Everything he touches turns to gold in terms of business. One of the most astute commercial lawyer in this country, right? But my getting to know him really was we served together in the Senate. And I tell this story all the while. One of the things that Mark has what they call almost a compulsive disorder to details. When he sat in the Senate and bills come to Parliament to debate, he goes through that bill, sometimes hundreds of pages. He goes through it, and every intervention he made from the opposition benches is one that we, the then government members, could not ignore. Every time he made an intervention, an observation in terms of some amendment or some correction, we couldn't ignore it as much as we wanted to, because he made sense. Secondly, he's not a flamboyant, rear clerks politician, right? He's not fashionable. But let me just tell you, this country has been screwed by many of those who over the last 60 years, by those who are flamboyant and fashionable. What Jamaica wants is a leader who is sincere, a leader who doesn't lust for power or is thirsty for power.
Yeah.
Mark happens to be, fate would have it, that Mark Golding found himself on the bridge at a certain time in history. And the people called at him, right? He's now the leader of the People's National Party, and I have no doubt the next Prime Minister of Jamaica. I am on the ground every day. I don't care what any poll tell me. I am a street man, right? I spend time on the ground naturally, and I'm telling you where the wind is blowing. And Mark Golding, for me, epitomizes the essence of a good leader. He's not perfect. As I said to somebody one day, any fool can wear clerks.
Mhm.
You know who I admire? I admire the man who makes the clerks. You see, the man who make the clocks create jobs.
Yeah.
The man who make the clocks make you look good. And a fool can wear it. And therefore, we must move away from this thing about the man not fashionable and the man that. Let me just tell you, he's a born Jamaican, right? And we're talking about his ancestry links with slavery. Bulls, right? Edward Seaga, right? Look at his color skin. And with all his failings, with all his faults, nobody could question his sincerity for poor people. Let's call a spade a spade. You don't get politicians talk like me. I call a spade, right? Mark Golding for me is the man who Jamaica deserves and the People's National Party. And he has my support. I'm prepared to go there, work the highways and walk the byways to ensure that the right leader, sincere, astute, transparent, inclusive, serve this country, Jamaica, land we love.
So my response to your question, Mary, is simple. My departure from the Jamaican Labour Party, I would say, was inevitable. And by inevitable, I mean, in hindsight, it became very obvious and apparent to me that at some point in time, you know, I would naturally have to leave the Jamaican Labour Party. Why do I say that? Of course, you know, the principles of the People's National Party has always been entrenched in me. There, even while I was campaigning up in Southeast St. Anne, during the times I campaigned in Southeast St. Anne, there were things in the People's National Party that compels me, that pulls me. You know, I've always questioned the whole concept of what the two finger and shower mean. And if shower never meant, the term shower had no significance to me. It never resonate with anything, any principle, any patriotic pulling, or anything that I was dear to Jamaica. I've always questioned that. I've always wished, while on that side, I've always wished, I'm a student of the People's National Party, the history of the People's National Party. So I would have known long ago that the People's National Party has been that foundation movement that has inspired so many other progressive movements across the Caribbean, as far to the far reaches of Africa. The African National Congress, for example, would have modeled their constitution off the People's National Party. The term comrade meant something for me. It was very significant. The word comrade, as opposed to labor right. I couldn't resonate with the concept of labor right. Comrade meant something for me. The fist, power to the people, meant something for me. I told you I'm a patriot, so those things resonated with me. I end up running on a labor right ticket, of course, because of my, association. I grew up even though I grew up in a comrade household, I grew up in a church that, generally speaking, tend to be more inclined to support the Jamaican Labour Party. St. Evan's Church is very strong. I mean, it's not a political organization. It does not champion politics, but the people I move around, the circles in which I move, most of those people were more leaned towards the Jamaica Labour Party. In fact, I was recruited by a good friend of mine, someone I still consider a friend, as a result. And of course, in Southeast St. Anne, I wanted to represent the people of Southeast St. Anne because that's where I grew up. And, the opportunity was with the Jamaica Labour Party. But I'm telling you, during that time I run, I still had respect for the leadership of the People's National Party. Michael Manley meant a lot to me. As a boy growing up, I would have grown up under his speeches. When he came to Kellits, my grandmother became a comrade. She was a solid laborite. She became a comrade because Michael Manley walked out of the helicopter and hugged her. even as a preacher, I would have done many, Portia Simpson Miller, whom we believe are to be we're family. Both of us coming, come from Saint Elizabeth. We have, I used to be very fond of her. She was very fond of me. She invited me to do devotional talks at her cabinet. I even spoke as devotional speaker at some of the PNP's major conferences. So I had a lot of history. In fact, when I was running as on the Labour Party ticket, there people were saying, "But Ryan Simpson, you're comrade whenever you're Labourite." For me, the opportunity to serve Jamaica transcends or trumps, political allegiance and political affiliations. But I can tell you again, during my time serving with the Jamaica Labour Party, people would have heard me say things like, and I think, that also was in part, responsible for, what transpired. Because I sometimes speak my mind, and so I would, I also had a great suspicion for Andrew Holness. Somehow, I mean, I was one of those people who, when he just came, when he became Prime Minister after Bruce Golding resigned, I was one of those people who thought, my goodness, here's a young man that represents the youthfulness of Jamaica. Let's see what he's going to do. But he seems to be a person that will exude hope and confidence and, youth, there's this,
Money.
there was this air about him that we thought, yes, okay, I think this young man can understand and identify with the need of the youth and young people. So in as much as I never voted for him, but I was excited to see what was going to happen. It never took me very long to realize that, and
Yeah.
to put it bluntly, that this man was a fraud.
A con man.
Honestly, I really believed he was, and so even when I was running for the Jamaica Labour Party, I was always suspicious of it, and I've made it known, I've declared it. I mean, not to people and not very publicly, but in my inner circle, of course. And I think it might have gotten back to him, but I was very suspicious of him. And I tell you some of the things that made me suspicious, because I could not fathom how a person who was virtually an average person economically could, in a matter of less than a decade, become one of the wealthiest people in Jamaica. Yes, and where do politicians get money from to be so wealthy? Yes, and I mean, you're the servant of the people. And somehow that was a big concern for me. Like, how did this man become so rich overnight? Yes, and I mean, it could be something. It could be that he just struck gold, and he was a shrewd businessman. I don't know if you can be a shrewd businessman and a politician at the same time. And then also I realized that I didn't, I felt that there was something insincere and disingenuous about him. Of course, I also became directly affected by by the insincerity. Notwithstanding, so a lot of people believe that I left the Jamaican Labour Party and I joined the PNP because I had a chip on my shoulder because of what transpired in 2020 weeks, prior to the 2020 election when I was removed from the seat. I know I was going to win the election if I had been permitted to run. I know I was going to win. The internal polls on both sides showed that I was going to win. The external polls showed that I was going to win, and everybody knew I was going to win. We spent a lot of money, and it was a great loss. But I understand it was a political move. And I respected him for the move he made. It was a shrewd move. It was not in my favor, but it was a political move. I don't think I was bent out of shape because of the political move. I didn't take it personal. It's politics. Politics is a blood sport. People do what they have to do. But people still think I take it personal, and that's why I left. And that's why I'm bashing Andrew Holness. I've been bashing Andrew Holness before I left JLP. I've been bashing Andrew Holness while I was running on the JLP ticket. And why would I bash Andrew Holness? I would bash Andrew Holness because I didn't think he was representing the Jamaican people or the interests of the Jamaican people. But at the same time, I could still run a JLP ticket because I was representing the interests of Southeast and the constituency I was running. But I know, in hindsight, that had I run and win that election, that right now, at this point in time, 2023, 3 years later, I don't think I would still be a JLP member of parliament. I'm convinced of that. I'm very convinced that I know for a fact that I would not be at this point a JLP member of parliament. I would either be an independent or cross the aisle to the People's National Party. And that would have been a great disappointment for the people who elected me on a JLP ticket. Yes, and of course, I could not have won Southeast Centre without the comrades, because there's not enough JLP Laborites in Southeast Centre to make any Laborite win that seat. It's impossible. That's a seat that has been held down by the People's National Party from the beginning, 1944. Ivan Lloyd, Seymour Mullings, Aluna Samba, and Seymour Mullings, Lloyd, they were winning that seat by over 7,000 votes. You understand? So on the one hand, the Laborites would have been upset, but the comrades, I mean, it would have been a lot of comrades who would have stayed home or would have voted for me, would have made me win that seat. But at the end of the day, the Laborites who would have elected me and a JLP ticket would have been disappointed, but that would have been fact. I cannot. And so I want to make it very clear to people at this moment. I did not leave the Jamaican Labour Party because I hate Andrew Holness, or all of a sudden because I'm upset or feel hurt or wounded because they never made me win. That's not why I left the Jamaican Labour Party, because I would have left had I won still. I didn't know that then, because some people think that I was planning to run and when I win, I cross. No, that's not true. I was running and I was going to win on the JLP ticket. But I've discovered enough under the leadership of Andrew Holness since 2020 that I could not in good conscience support. The atrocities that this man is causing, the havoc that he's wreaking on my country, on the people. This man is not a poor people prime minister. This man is making my country poverty-stricken. Yes, and this man is bulldozing people out of the house. And don't tell me that because a government land in Nepal. Portia Simpson Miller found a way to get people regularized who were capturing government land and gave them, hold them accountable, hold them responsible, make them pay some money, but she make people feel proud to own a little piece of the rock by having a title in their hand. And this man, the best thing he can do is bulldoze people and then use criminal activity as an excuse. I could not, especially when this man built a big house to live in, a having mansion and a tear down poor people mansion. I can't support that. Yes, sir. And there are many other things, so you look at the policy, you look at the agenda, you look at the procedure, the activities of this government. This government is champions publicity and media publicity and publicity campaign over actual doing something that benefits the people of Jamaica. You build a house, you build a one-bedroom house, and the prime minister builds a one-bedroom house and has time on his hand to go and cut ribbon. With a national leader. I mean, you have a minister of housing, and you have the time to build one bedroom and bring the motorcade, the entourage that he brings with him to cut the ribbon costs more than what it costs to build that one bedroom house. So you can spend maybe 2 times, 3 times the amount of money to go there to cut the ribbon than what it costs to build the house, and then Jamaica say, oh, we have a great prime minister, open most of people. Well, the PNP government opened the housing scheme. Yes, and when the open housing scheme, sometimes the prime minister doesn't have the time to go there. The minister of housing go open it. That's a government that is working for the people and working in the best interest of the people. This guy is using social media influencers and clerks and dressing down and dressing up that's a total failure. We are living in a failed state. Crime. People are dropped dead every day, and crime can't solve. Yes, and a crime plan, and in the middle of the crime plan, you get the Minister of National Security, who has failed. The Minister of National Security, who should have been fired a long time ago, got a pay raise. We couldn't stay with that.
About
No
pay
matter what you tell me, we couldn't stay with that.
You talk about pay raise, and I think Mr. Meadows, being a former senator, could probably answer me on it. Is there a provision in law for the security minister, or the deputy prime minister, I should say, to get a higher salary than the finance minister? are a different salary from other ministers? Because I noticed that his pay, Dr. Chang pay, is different from the regular ministers, you know? And he has a pay of deputy prime minister pay. So the deputy prime minister, who the prime minister can appoint anybody, you know, he can believe in and said, hey, act as prime minister or anything like that to get a set salary. The deputy prime minister should get a set salary.
Even before the salary restructuring, the Minister of Finance always gets a little bit more than his colleague ministers for obvious reasons. He controls the treasury, right? The Prime Minister is also paid on top of the, above all ministers. But if the security minister, in this case, Dr. Chang, is appointed as deputy prime minister, he would attract a more salary than even the Minister of Finance himself. It's a matter of grade and scale, right? I have no difficulty in terms of, let me just tell you this. The thing I find a bit hypocritical, because we are working from the back end. We're putting the cart before the horse. We now hear about performance pay and job description. Job descriptions were promised to us from 2016. In fact, it was a 100-day promise. One, fixed election date, impeachment legislation, so you hold politicians, serving politicians accountable, right? And with possible recall, right? You spoke about job description. These are profound promises. In excess of 3,000 days thereafter, you raise your salary, and then you're talking about performance pay. Everything just come across rather superficial than sincere, right? And let me give you a little story. In North Trelawney here, there's a company called Harmonization Limited, a company which I was employed. There's 21 persons working there as we speak. Gardeners, house helpers, housekeepers, that kind of thing. Did you know that as we speak, in fact, 3 of them came to me today, those 21 persons are denied payments under the salary restructuring. Let me just tell you about Harmonization Limited. Harmonization Limited is a company that was set up by PJ Patterson for that. You remember that massive development out by going down on that side?
Yep.
Where it's supposed to be the first casino should have been there. Under Tavis. Yeah, man, Tavistock out of Miami. Joe Lewis. Remember in 2006, former Prime Minister announced this massive development would have been the largest in a 10-year project. Would have been the largest in the Caribbean. 21 workers now who were told that their salaries would be improved under the salary structuring, right? Are told today that they won't receive 1 penny on their current salary. Just picture that. Ministers at the top pay themselves over 200% salaries. Ministers.
Yeah.
Right? And here are people at the bottom who are themselves public servants and government employees.
Yeah.
Are told that they will not receive, they are being excluded from the adjustment given to every other public sector workers.
And that for me, Dennis, that is a reason why I am a democratic socialist, because only under capitalism, the rich gets richer and the poor gets poorer. Yes, and there's no justification for that. There's no equity in it either. Yes, and where the civil servant pays, who manages the coffers, pays himself out of the coffers in a self-serving way. When the people who, the foot soldier, the frontline workers who are out there, on the front line, should be denied this same privilege.
Yeah. But the greater point I want to seek to make as it relates to the Minister of National Security and Deputy Prime Minister, a person I know very well. 93%. A poll was done a couple of months ago. 93% of the Jamaican populace said they have no confidence in both the Minister of National Security and the incumbent Commissioner of Police. 93%. You can't get it worse than that. But what you do, in the last reshuffling, what you do, you will promote him. You promoted him to Deputy Prime Minister. And we still have a Commissioner of Police who I regard is a fashionista.
Yes.
Because the only change he has brought to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the only change he has brought is a uniform.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, I think the uniform is even more convenient, more than this, the regulation 1 red stripe and black band. That I always thought that uniform was not ideal for our tropical environment. So I welcome that change in terms of uniform. But crime fighting is more than uniform, right? So you have a commissioner who was handpicked. Why? Because that commissioner, when he was National Security Advisor, a position that was created by Prime Minister Holness, right? And at the time he said it was a strategic position created in its effort to stem the crime problem. You ask today, who is the new National Security Advisor? None. And the only reason Major Anderson was moved from as National Security Advisor to now the current commissioner, because he was the one who proposed this thing about states of emergency as a crime tool.
Wow.
And he was appointed to implement it, which has turned out to be a failure.
Yes.
Right? And don't get me wrong, I supported the initial introduction of states of emergency because I believe what was happening then in terms of, especially in Mobay, needed a shock and awe effect, right?
Right.
But like everything else, anybody who knows anything about security one-on-one, your strategy in security-wise must always be dynamic, not static. So if you continue using one strategy called states of emergency, over time, government get used to that.
Right.
They know your playbook. So states of emergency should not be used as a routine crime tool because its efficacy wanes over time. That's common sense. But we continue to use it as a facade of action, appear to be doing something while doing nothing, because the government is devoid of anything to put forward in terms of policy framework to fight crime. And we must call a spade, right? That's what they're doing. One of the things that turns me off with this government, that everything about them is orchestrated and choreographed. Everything is PR prop. Your bulldozer, people houses, right? And when the pushback come at you in terms of bad press and bad PR and bad goodwill, you go to Parliament and you take one person out of the many you have bulldozed.
Bulldozed, yes.
And so this is what I'm doing for John Brown. I'm giving back John Brown while you bulldoze John Brown, Jane Brown, everybody else who are not impacted. So what Jamaica needs, in my view, is a sincere government.
Yes.
A government with a heart.
A government
another thing that pisses me off, and forgive the expression. What nauseates me. People feel peeved and they use what is available to them called social media. Huh? They go on social media and they vent. Yeah, because they have access to it. One time gone, they didn't have such medium, so they would have to complain and quarrel among themselves in the community. Now they have the world exposed to them through social media and new media. So the little man will go on his thing and he's vent about the government and he said this and expressing his own opinion on social issues in his own way. He's not as articulate as some of us. He's going to use some choice words, which I use sometimes myself, right? And before that person finished talking, he hears a knock on his door. Government badness come for them. Police. Now that is how you use state resources to go on down citizens who are just merely voicing their concern, as opposed to directing those resources to the real criminals, those who are creating mayhem and murder in our country. One person down here, Jamaics, a well-known food vendor in Falmouth Square, in Water Square, Falmouth, went on TikTok and he vociferously articulate in his own way an outrage for what was happening in terms of in his country. And before he could hang up, CTOC, the police unit, drove from Kingston to his yard and took him back to Kingston, held him for about 2 days, simply because he went on social media and speak against the government. Yet the pastor in St. Anne, equally was arrested, right? And embarrassed because he dare speak out against the government. Rowan James, the head of the Police Federation, right? Went to a funeral, and I agree with you, he could have probably articulated his views a bit more within the ambit of respect for his employers. But that's not a crime.
Correct.
What you do, you just put him on interdiction, and because he did challenge that interdiction, you leaked his personal records, which is private information, to a particular media house to undermine his credibility. The same thing I'm talking about, right? And some of you don't know, even the police officer himself don't have access, ready access and immediate access to his HR file. He has to apply for it. But in this case, the file was leaked to a particular media house seeking to undermine them.
And that's why that
is why I hate any government, any state that is oppressive, repressive, and vindictive to its citizens.
And restrictive. And that is why, Comrade Meadows, I share your sentiment that I don't feel like Andrew Holness and his government is working in the best interest of Jamaica or the Jamaican people. I think Andrew Holness carries to the government his personality as a vindictive person. So you cross him and he's gonna try to hurt you, and I think he's using that same policy to run a state. I don't think he's able to separate the personal from the professional, his duty to his people as from how he relates to his friends or on a one-on-one level. I also believe too, for that reason. I mean, a man who is gonna try to muzzle people or to suppress freedom of expression um, does not deserve to represent the people, because Jamaica has always been, we have always been an expressive country, people who carry our thoughts on our cuff. If we're going around the world, then know we're Jamaican, because we, once we speak with mind, we speak with mind, and there's nothing else to that. And you'd have expect that a man who is leading our people understands that. Somehow, I think he has individuals advising him, and I don't think these individuals who are advising him are even Jamaicans themselves. And so it's very clear. When you meet Mark Golding, having met Andrew Holness, you're going to see day and night. It's two different set of people. Mark Golding is a human being. Mark Golding is a genuine, sincere, down-to-earth person. Well, yeah, I mean, even I want to even begin by saying he's a human being. Decent is definitely in order, but it's and people, I and I want Jamaica. I like what the path that Mark Golding is on. I want as many Jamaicans to meet the man before the general election, because when you get to meet him on a one-on-one level,
Can't help but like him.
whatever preconceived notions you have of him will go through the window.
Yeah, man.
You have to dismiss them, because the man, and you will see, he's not, not only is a brilliant man, not only is a man a genius, but he's a kind of human being that we want to preside over the affairs of our nation. A person that will put people first. He's not self-serving, and he's seen in many of his acts that he has, done, whether it be the students in Ukraine, the first to come out to say, listen, let's get our students home, and we're not getting them home by trying to offer them a loan and put up some money out of my own pocket to do it. It's a man with a heart, as opposed to our leader, our current leader, that I feel is quite a very heartless guy. So yeah, I support that 100%, Dennis. I believe I'm where I belong. I'm at the right place. Call me on, call me. Tell me something hungry for power. No matter what you want to say. I think we're at the right place. Like you, Dennis, I am determined to get the People's National Party back into the government of Jamaica, to form the next government of Jamaica, because it is right, it is just, it is fair, and it is equitable to do so.
Okay.
For my own, Myri, before you come in, from my own experience, being in the People's National Party months now, let me just tell you, and this is not superficial, I'm simply expressing a very sincere view, that I've never been more welcomed. I've never been more respected than anywhere else. I don't, let me just not dismiss the pretense. Not everybody was welcoming, because there are those who are traditionalists who believe that, made us to stay away with the blah, blah, blah. But the leadership of the People's National Party, and the majority thereof, has been most welcoming to me and respectful of me. I feel like I've been here many, many years ago.
Yes.
And let's call a spade a spade. I've been in the JLP more than 30 years. Today, I am the PNP's National Party Standard Bearer for Trelawney Northern, a gem of a seat and a very safe PNP seat. That was afforded me through a selection process, which was very fair, very transparent. Had some hiccups along the way, but it was in the main very fair, and I'm sure Warren can speak to that.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
It was very transparent. The integrity of the process, I dare not question. I learned on Sunday that they were so meticulous and to detail in terms of when you vote, when you go to vote as a delegate, you dip your finger in the ink just like you're doing a general election.
Yes, yes.
If you don't have an ID,
Can't vote.
you are not allowed to vote.
Even though your name is on the
I could
ballot.
have gotten more vote on Sunday.
Even though your
But a lot
name
of
is on
them,
the list.
yes,
Yes, yes.
a lot of them came without the ID, though they were advised. But I guess in their exuberance and their rush to come vote, they forgot their ID. But the process has been rather can stand any scrutiny. And I am today the candidate, God's willing, for the People's National Party next election. As somebody who just crossed from the JLP.
Yeah.
That to me tells you what the PNP is about. It is inclusive and it's about people. Because it is the people of North Trelawney essentially who told the PNP, this is who we want. Give us Dennis Meadows. And they listened.
Yeah. I share your
And that to
sentiments.
me, that's a marked difference between the JLP and the PNP.
I share that sentiment too, Comrade Meadows. I've never felt more received, more respected, more loved, more appreciated, more valued, as I am feeling right now in the People's National Party. I don't have to worry about feeling like I'm a threat to anyone. I'm seen as my strength, my experience, my education, my academic achievement are received not as a threat, but as an asset, as something valuable to advance the cause of the People's National Party. So I know exactly what you're feeling because that's exactly the way I've been feeling. I felt from the very moment I came back to the People's National Party. Mark Golden has been in my constituency at least 3 times since I've been in Northeast St. Ann within a year. 3 times we have walked together. Yeah, he specifically made the time to come down to spend some time with me. I spent a year and a half in Southeast St. Ann, and when the leader of the party comes there, I heard by way of that he was there visiting some people. I was totally unaware of that. Aside from that, none of the party hierarchy or leadership ever come once to they hear that of the traction and the steam that we're picking up in Southeast End and never want to even come to ask how is it going there. So there's a difference. There's a difference in many ways. I believe the People's National Party is an equitable party, not without its flaws, not without its faults. I mean, we have made some blunders in historically. We do have in our ranks people who are also selfish, who are also capitalistic in their thinking. So I dare not say that the People's National Party or the leadership or all of the individuals who are there are saints, but I really believe that it is the party that works in the best interest of the Jamaican people right now.
Okay, time is really moving fast, but I have one question, What are 5 things that are of grave concerns that face the Jamaican people that you would implore the PNP to pay priority attention on becoming government?
For me, we must operate a society that is facilitating to its citizens, not frustrating. Power for me must facilitate, not frustrate. Look at housing. You can't have a social housing program that is subjective. What do I mean by subjective? Where one member of parliament choose whether or not you get a house. That don't make sense. Right? And you grow on 1, 1, 1, 1 and open houses. You must have a housing solution policy that is transparent, that is open, that is objective, right? So people can feel free that if they apply, they will be assessed on their merits and means tests to choose whether or not they get social housing. Two, I believe that crime is still a sore point in this country. And what you want a leader that has the capacity, right, to take the bold moves. Don't take what you call superficial and insincere actions like states of emergency. Yes. That is just to appear that you're doing something while doing nothing. You must come with serious policies, both social. We must bring policies that prevent crime foremost than to fight crime. Because I believe as a society, we breed crime through our social economic settings. When you have poor people grow up in informal communities without proper road, without tenure, without light, without water. Some of them have to defecate in scandal bag and throw over the gully. You expect those people in that ugly environment called home to emerge as gentlemen and ladies. Very few of us would escape in ugly environments like those socially and psychologically unscathed.
Yes.
One of the reasons that with all this notion with Operation Pride as it's that was here, with all its failings, I believe this country need another round of Operation Pride to give tenure to people and lands. You know all Jamaica what? All Jamaica want is a square, a piece of square.
Yeah.
You put road, light, and water. Give them a basic plan so that you have uniformity in terms of structure. So people don't overbuild and that kind of thing. You give them a just like the GORE schemes and where you're restricted to build a certain way, right? You give them a square, road, light, and water. And in a month, in a year, you have a village. All Jamaicans want is an opportunity to succeed. So we must have a government that, again, that facilitates, not frustrate. Our young people feels alienated from the process, right? They live without hope. We want a society, a party, a government that gives hope at the very minimum to the young man who leaves school. That when he leaves school, he gets a sense that he can attach himself to a program. He can be engaged in productive activities and to make sure that he sees a future. One of the things that affects our society in terms of crime is that when you talk to the man, they not live for nothing. Because from their point of view, they don't see a life ahead of today. And therefore, they don't care what they do. But when somebody has hope, when somebody have a sense that they have a purpose in life, their actions and their behavior will be totally different.
Okay, thank you.
For me,
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you were finished. Comrade
No, I yield to you, Ryan.
Okay, thank you. So for me, I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. The 5 things that I believe I would like to see my government to focus on clearly would be 1, create a Jamaica that is for Jamaica, that puts Jamaica first. Jamaica first. If you see anytime I post something, whether my status or Facebook, I end with that hashtag Jamaica first. I lived in countries, other countries of the world, Bermuda, Mexico, the United States. These are countries I've lived in, and these countries put their citizens first. What that means is that they defend the jobs of those countries. They protect Mexico protect Mexican jobs. Bermuda protects Bermudan jobs, meaning you cannot get a job in Bermuda as an expatriate or a foreigner if there's a Jamaican qualified for that job. That job has to be advertised, and if a qualified Bermudian is qualified for it, they get it. The employer must employ them first.
Cayman also. Yeah.
Yes, and if they don't employ them first, they'll have to demonstrate why and give very good reason why they offer that job to a foreigner over a Jamaican, over Bermuda or Cayman, or even the US, even the United States. When I came to the United States to work, my job was publicized, and my employer had to show that the person that they couldn't find someone in the area qualified for it before I got it. So a lot of people believe that America just give away jobs to anybody. That's not true. America protects American jobs for American people. I'm having a problem where Jamaica is yielding up all of our jobs. I mean, you go to the hotel industry and all of the top level positions are gone to people from the Dominican Republic. We can't understand why head chef and sous chef and food and beverage manager and a Jamaican are sweep out all of them there. Those are jobs that should be protected and restricted to Jamaicans, meaning, unless the Jamaicans are not qualified for it, you can bring in a foreign. So Jamaica first, Jamaica business. I mean, under Andrew Holness government, we bring in Uber. The taxi industry already a struggle. Taxi driver suffer to make money for sending people to school. I gotta bring Uber to come compete. You understand? I mean, in the pandemic when Jamaica had some little small business owners like Seven Crave and Quick Plate and those little food delivery services capitalizing on the pandemic to deliver food to the person. America bring in one big established food delivery company from North America from Latin America named what's called Hugo. Yes, I'm saying to compete with Jamaican jobs, and that happens. The Chinese come in and they take over every little corner store, every little hardware, every little business. Nothing is protected for Jamaicans. And I'm not saying that I'm not against foreign investors and foreign investment. I believe in it. But you can't have a man come set up a shop beside your Jamaican and run him out of business, which is what I see happening a lot. Foreign companies are running our companies or business. Foreign employees are coming and taking over Jamaican jobs. So, number one, I would like the People's National Party to give substantial, deliberate, intentional focus to preserving Jamaica for Jamaicans and starting with Jamaican jobs and Jamaican businesses. Number two, Dennis said it, the crime. We have to have a crime fighting plan. It can be zones of special operations. That's not a crime fighting plan. That's number two. Number three, Jamaicans must feel the young people must feel like they're first-class citizens in their country. They can't be feeling like second-class citizens in their country, and that's what them are runway. That's what them are runway got foreign. That's why so much teachers are leaving like in droves. Our young people don't feel there's no hope in Jamaica for the young people. There's hopelessness. So we have to create a youth-friendly Jamaica that recognize our giftedness and our talents and our academic excellence and capitalize on it and provide opportunity for young people to stay in Jamaica and stem the brain drain that we're suffering, and we're suffering it seriously and significantly. Number four, we can't have a healthcare system where people go to hospital to die. And whether it be Princess Margaret or the one in the Montego Bay or Senate Bay. Senate Bay is a tourist belt. And these are the hospitals now, KPH, unless they're privately owned hospitals. All of our public hospitals are places where people go to die. You send it, somebody gets sick and go to the hospital, they might go dead. It's atrocious, the condition. It's unfortunate. It's tragic. While people are saying Christopher is the best Minister of Health ever. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Because him can pull off a good PR campaign that make him a good Minister of Health. Take a look at our hospitals. They're an atrocity. So healthcare in all its form. And number five, get to a place where parliamentarians don't pat themselves on the back when they give the people road and water. Because road and water are basic infrastructure that any parliamentarian should make sure the people have access to, and they don't, and it's not something they're doing out of the ordinary. It's like it's like when you campaign on giving people road and water, it's like an ATM asking you to say thank you when it give you your money. Yes, and we need to get to a point where road and water is not a part of our campaign manifesto. It's not a part of our campaign strategy, because every Jamaicans are entitled to those basic amenities: road, water, light, access to internet. You understand? And anybody in a power must be primary.
Mr. Meadows,
Yes.
recently we are gonna close up shortly, you know, but I can't leave without you telling us about your recent vindication and exoneration and all of that. So give us.
Oh, and congratulations to you, Dennis. I saw it again in the Observer today. You know, of course, they were trying to trace it, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Tell us.
In short, you know, my name was dragged through the mud over a year ago.
Yeah.
We suffered I suffered almost irreparable reputational damage. My family suffered psychologically and emotionally, traumatically. And in anybody who knows me consistently, that I value my good name.
Yes, sir.
Don't come at me or you seek to question my good name. I'm going to come at you, whether you are man, woman, or child. All right? And I take no prisoners in that regard. Cut long story short, I have reasons recently to write to the Integrity Commission, because I wanted was to give the PNP comfort in my candidacy. While the polls say that I am this and I am that and I'm the right person, and the PNP is a party of integrity. The vetting process, I must tell you, is very thorough. I've run election 3 times. I've never gone through the kind of vetting process that I went through in the People's Natural.
Here.
Yeah, man, on this integrity. They take the processing and the vetting of their candidates seriously.
Yes.
And there's no secret, the FLA was a cloud over my head. So I took the decision that I would write to the Integrity Commission to say, hey, in essence, what's happening here? You have a referral was made over a year ago. The Constitution gives me a right to fairness. You can't have this thing hanging over my head. You either put up or shut up. In essence, much to my surprise, on Monday, I received an email which advised, essentially saying, Mr. Meadows, we sent that ruling from February 22, 2022 to Parliament, you know. Essentially the same time they sent the FLA report. Right? I was shocked. Meaning that my name has been cleared over a year now, but it mysteriously wasn't tabled with the FLA report. It was kept in the cupboards of Parliament. You recall how much they tried to beat up on the Integrity Commission when the Prime Minister, in the same circumstances, was accused of alleged nepotism with the Westcon. You remember that Westcon report with Robert Garvin? And the Integrity Commission referred the Prime Minister to the Director of Corruption Prosecution. Remember how they came out to this very day, still demonizing the Integrity Commission for not putting its ruling same time as the substantive report. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is the same Parliament who attacked the Integrity Commission for treating the Prime Minister that way, is now seeking to almost justify right? In other words, they're again trying to cast blame on the very Integrity Commission again. That is their fault. When the Integrity Commission did what they're supposed to do, they sent it as far back as February 22, 2022. And I asked them, how comes? And I am told that it's not us, it is the Integrity Commission. I lay no blame at the Integrity Commission in this instance because they did what they're supposed to do. And while I stand aggrieved by the Integrity Commission, I believe that the Integrity Commission is a necessary evil we need in this country. They don't always get it right, but they are necessary, particularly in a country that has an unflattering corruption perception index.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to beat up on the Integrity Commission. The long and short of it, my good name has been restored. And I'm claiming that. I don't care what nobody else want to say. Yes. When the Prime Minister got the ruling, in fact, his ruling was more out of statute of limitation. Statute of limitation. So the ruling is that they can't survive a challenge of abuse of process by any attorney. So they say, listen, while there might be evidence, we can't try this case at this time.
Right.
My ruling was more conclusive. Based on the evidence, blah, blah, blah. There's no case to answer. There's no viable case. Because from day one, I said that I dismissed that report with the contempt it deserves. Right? You can't be holding me. Dennis Meadows is one of 5 members on a board. Think of it. And the wisdom, those who created the Firearms Act, put a judicious mind on the board, a retired high court judge to guide us legally. Then how come you just pick out Dennis Meadows out of a board of 5 when Dennis Meadows can't by himself give or deny anybody gun?
Yeah.
Common sense. But some of us were so filled with hate that we are prepared to believe the worst of people because it feeds your hate.
That's right.
Some of you are silent now. I tell you, the Lord works in mysterious ways. It's wonders to perform. Sometimes when your enemies think they are frustrating you, they are in fact facilitating your growth and your success.
Dennis, you seem like you're a better preacher than me, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So I thank God. I'm not going to dwell on it. I feel free now going forward to represent the people who I love.
Yes.
The people of Northern Trelawney for me now is my focus.
Yes.
I am going to fight tooth and nail to ensure that I do them justice for their confidence they are vested and repose in me, starting at the delegates conference and ultimately in the next general election. Wonderful. I will do them proud.
Love it. I love it.
Thank you. I mean, I would love to have you guys again. You know, I mean, it's been almost.
We're not seeing you, Iron. We're seeing the
Yeah, the thing is, is what Mr. Meadows was talking about. You know, with the Prime Minister. So I was just sharing it where it says according to the
show them. Yes, let me read it. This is the case to Andrew Wilness.
Yeah.
According to the Director of Prosecution, though sufficient evidence has been identified to mount charges for noted offenses, the prosecution would be hard-pressed to resist an abuse of process application with regards to undue delay. In other words, you have a right to a speedy trial and so on under the Constitution, and statute of limitation that's passed. So they elect not to pursue. My case was more definitive and conclusive.
Corruption.
Yes. And yet still they want to deny me that exoneration and that vindication. I'm claiming it in the name of God.
I support you 100%, my brother. I claim it with you. Wonderful.
Okay, you want to give your closing thoughts, Dr. Ryan? You know,
I listen. Maybe I want to close where I started. I'm a member of the People's National Party, and I'm very proud to be. I am a son of the People's National Party, grew up under the banner of the People's National Party, and proud to be representing the party, not just because of its name, but because of what it stands for. It's a party of equity, a party of transparency, a party of due process, a party that represents right now the future of a Jamaica that I would like my children to grow up under. A party whose leader, the Honorable Mark Golding, is working in the best interest of the Jamaican people. We are living in a country of decline, a failed state, a failed government, a government that puts publicity and PR over or champions that as more to be desired than one that represents the people and is elected to stand up for the rights and liberties of the people, stand up for justice. And so I have no apology. Call me a turncoat, call me a flip-flop, call me whatever you want to. I have no apology, and I have no regret about where I am right now. I think I am home. I think I belong here, and I am going to do everything in my power. I'm asking Jamaicans, just assess the state of affairs of this country right now. And if you go to the poll and vote back the Jamaica Labour Party into power, and I'm talking to labor rights, because I know labor rights, you are Jamaicans first before your labor rights. You're Jamaicans. And if you go to the poll because of your color and put back the Andrew Willis government in power, then unfortunately, I have to consider you a traitor. And if you're comrades and you refuse to go to the poll, and by refusing to go to the poll, the Jamaica Labour Party returns to power, I have to consider you a traitor as well, because you would have, by your act or your omission, put back into government a party that is not working in the best interest of the Jamaican people. And what we want right now is a Jamaica for Jamaicans, and the People's National Party and Mark Golding represent that. Thank you very much.
thank you. Mr. Meadows?
I am prepared to work honestly, creatively, and assiduously so that Jamaica may,
Yes,
under God and the People's National Party, play our part in advancing the welfare of Jamaica and its people.
Yes.
God bless you.
Thank you. I love it.
There is no force like success. And that is why the individual makes all effort to surround himself throughout life with evidence of it. As of the individual, so should it be of the nation. Real men laugh at opposition. Real men smile when enemies appear. Those are quotes from Jamaica's first national hero,
Marcus Garvey.
Sorry. It is indeed my pleasure to have you on the Aramari and Friends show. Every success to you and your campaign.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to you, Mario, Mario, Colin. You have been a vanguard in terms of your own activism. This program alone, you have many groups and on social media. So you, in your own right and in your own space, have been a vanguard for the people and defending the interests of the people. So I want to commend you.
Thank you.
I support the sentiment of Comrade Dennis Meadows. I admire it. Really. Thank you for holding the torch and carrying it in your little corner.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so I'm thanking my guest and for making our show a success. Join us next week, Thursday, where we will do it once again. Peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. It's always a pleasure, my brother.
Always, my friend, comrade and brother.
All right.